New York City is currently spending billions of dollars to tear down and replace Rikers Island. But did you know, Rikers Island only exists because in 1907, the city tore down a massive fortress-like prison in the middle of Crown Heights, shipped all the inmates to an uninhabited island, and rebranded the whole neighborhood. The neighborhood we know today as Crown Heights developed about a century ago on either side of Brooklyn's Grand Eastern Parkway. It was once a totally different world. Before the brownstones and brunch spots, this was an outpost of shanties and piggeries known as Crow Hill. And it had a massive dark centerpiece. Back in the mid-1800s, Crow Hill was a hilly, wooded area where African-American communities like Weeksville and Carsville lived relatively isolated from the rest of the city. Historians agree that the name Crow Hill was a derogatory reference to the black residents that lived here. But the defining mark of the skyline wasn't a church or a park. It was the Kings County Penitentiary, also known as Crow Hill Penitentiary. Built in 1848, this place had a domineering presence. We're talking about a 5-acre fortress-like prison between Nostrand and Rogers and Crown and President Street. It was ominous and it was stone cold. And for 60 years, it was a place where people serving up to 10 years in prison were sent and locked away. At the time, Brooklyn was considered way outside the city. But as Brooklyn began to expand, the city literally began to wrap around the prison walls. By the 1900s, the vibe had shifted and developers wanted to build mansions and tree-lined streets. But nobody wanted a massive castle full of inmates as their neighbor. The Brooklyn Daily Eagle called it a barrier to growth. They started clearing out everything. The hospitals, the almhouses, and finally the prison by the year 1907. The walls were torn down, effectively ending the era of Crow Hill. Once the forbidden neighbor was gone, the neighborhood got a total rebrand to Crown Heights. And what stands in its place today? Medgar Evers College Preparatory School. The grid we know today, the mass residential housing, and the iconic Brooklyn look rose from that penitentiary. And it goes to show that your favorite neighborhood is sitting on dozens of renditions of history you'd never recognize.